few weeks ago, I was channel surfing when I came upon yet another documentary on the sinking of the Titanic. Now I have to admit that I have been fascinated by the Titanic story since I was a small boy when I first saw A Night to Remember with my father on a black and white TV set. And I know that in that I am not alone. Thousands, perhaps millions of people around the world share in that fascination. There are museums dedicated to the Titanic. There are clubs dedicated to the remembrance and study of the lost ship. Researchers and explorers continue to dive on the wreck site. I recall that several years ago, to mark the centennial of the sinking, some restaurants even hosted special dinners featuring the menu from the Titanic's first-class dining room. Of course, there are many aspects to the Titanic story which attract people. There's the romance of a transatlantic voyage on a great liner. There is the mystique of the fabulously wealthy and famous. And then there's the end of an era, which Titanic's sinking seemed to have symbolized. And then there's the story of human arrogance, pride and hubris in the face of nature. If we have learned anything from the Titanic experience, it is that no ship will ever again be called unsinkable. Titanic served, I believe, and still serves as a reminder of the overwhelming power of nature, especially as it relates to the sea and large bodies of water. Now, we in Wisconsin, we are truly blessed to live in a naturally beautiful place. The natural beauty of this state is surpassed by few, if any. And this is especially true if we're thinking about the 15,000 lakes that dot our state. And Wisconsinites are also famous for their enjoyment of all this natural bounty. Boaters, hunters, fishermen, campers, hikers, you name it. We all find ways to enjoy the outdoors in our limited summer weather. What can be more serene, more peaceful, than sitting at the lake shore, watching the setting sun after a long day? Yet we know that nature isn't always peaceful and it's not always serene. Sometimes it can be violent and seemingly cruel. And we also know that our lives are not always serene and peaceful. There are times in our lives when we feel that we are being buffeted about by waves over which we have no control. It reminds me of the saying on a plaque which my grandmother had up in her kitchen. "Oh God, your sea is so great, and my boat is so small." That must be how the disciples felt in today's gospel lesson as they struggled just to keep their fishing boat afloat in the midst of that great storm on the Sea of Galilee. They had set out on what appeared to be a routine journey. Apparently it was so calm that Jesus fell asleep. Then came the storm, which, though the weather had appeared to be calm, couldn't really have been a total surprise, because the disciples, some of whom were experienced fishermen, would have known well that the Sea of Galilee was notorious for sudden and violent storms. Those same fishermen disciples also knew how to handle the boat, yet they were terrified. When all their skill and their experience had failed them, almost as a last resort, they woke sleeping Jesus. And Mark tells us that Jesus woke up and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a dead calm.